All right, so let's look at another type of quadratic that we could solve. Now, I'm only intensifying the algebra part of this. I'm not intensifying the trig part. Once you get the trig part down, that's fine. Later on the semester, I'll intensify the trig after we're done fully intensifying the algebra, so I'm not trying to hit you in two different spots. All right, so let's look at a little bit more of a difficult trig problem. We've got 14 tangent squared theta plus 1 equals 6 tangent squared theta plus 7 tangent theta. And I want this answer between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. And of course then, if you give me the answers in radians, I will not accept it. Pretty straightforward. All right, so this is just like any other quadratic that you've solved in Algebra 1, possibly in geometry, as well as in Algebra 2 and in pre-calculus. You need to get it set equal to 0. So I want to move everything to one side. I want to move everything over here because I want my leading term to be positive. I just prefer to have a leading term positive versus negative. It doesn't matter if you move it to the other side. It's just my preference. So I'm going to subtract 6 tangent squared theta, and I'm going to subtract 7 tangent theta and move everything over. When I do that, I get 8 tangent squared theta minus 7 tangent theta plus 1 equals 0. Okay. Now from here, I can check to see if it factors, and initially it might look like it does because I do 8 times 1 is 8. What factors of 8 could possibly be negative 7? Well, there is none. So this does not factor. Well, if it doesn't factor, my next option with quadratics is, well, the one that you guys know is quadratic formula. You could also complete the square. I would actually, with this one, I would use the quadratic formula, but Dr. Lowe's method is also another option, which is a new way of solving. All right, so that means I need to identify my A, my B, and my C. And for those of you who don't remember your quadratic formula, it is B, negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. This B squared minus 4AC is called the discriminant, and it tells us the type of answers we get. All right, so you gotta love the bells here. So my A is my leading coefficient, which is 8. My B is the coefficient attached to my tangent with the sign, so my B is negative 7, and my C is my constant, which is 1. So when I do the quadratic formula, me personally, I always do the discriminant first because it's going to tell me the type of answers I get. If I get a positive number, I get 2 real solutions. If I get a perfect square, I'm going to get 1 solution. And if I get a negative number for my discriminant, I'm getting 2 complex, and then I can just stop because I'm not asking for complex answers. So I'm going to do my B squared minus 4AC first. So my B squared is going to be negative 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times 8. This gives me 49 minus, 8 and 8, 16. 16 times 2 is 32. And this gives me 17. That means I'm going to get 2 real solutions. So this is the part that's underneath the square root. So now I just need to do a negative B. So 7 plus or minus the square root of 17, because that's the part that's underneath the square root, all over 2 times my A, which is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. And we're used to seeing this as x equals and you're done. You're not even close to being done here. Because this is not x equals, this is tangent equals. Tangent theta equals this. All right. Now, we're going to need to find a reference angle because this is clearly not going to be on the unit circle. So I take arctangent, and I'm going to do the plus, so it gives me quadrant 1. I could do the minus, but that's probably going to give me quadrant 4, and then I have to take the absolute value. I want to use quadrant 1 as much as possible to make my life easier. So I'm going to do theta is my arctangent of 7 plus the square root of 17 over 16. When I do this, I get approximately, where's my answer? 34.5 807 degrees. Now this is also my reference angle. All right, so now you think you're done. You got an answer. No, you're not done. Because now you have to come back up here and look, okay, well, where's tangent positive and negative? Well, it's in all four quadrants. And this is one full revolution. So there's four answers. I need quadrant 1. I need quadrant 2. I need quadrant 3. And I need quadrant 4. All right, quadrant 1 is my reference angle, 34.807. Quadrant 2 is 180 degrees minus my 34.807 degrees, and that gives me 145.193 degrees. This is 180 degrees plus my 34.807, which this gives me 214.807 degrees. And this is 360 degrees minus my reference angle, 34.807. I bet I'm off the screen just a little bit, which this gives me 325.193 degrees. That means my answer to theta is 34.807 degrees. 145.193 degrees, 214.807 degrees, and 325.193 degrees. And those are my answers. So all I did was just intensify the algebra. All of this stuff, the trig part, is still the same. Find the reference angle, find the quadrants, plug them into the formulas. We just changed the algebra up top. So this is where this class is going to start getting much more difficult, because now you have to not only remember all the trig that I'm teaching you, you have to recall all the algebra you've done before. So it's not going to get any simpler than this going forward, because I've taught you rational root theorem, how to solve polynomials, so I can give this to you to the fifth. We're going to start introducing identities to this, so we're going to intensify the algebra. Now, later on, we're going to intensify the trig and the algebra up here once you have this part down, because this part won't change once you get to a certain point. This will not be the last time you see solving trig equations, because these are solving simple. This is a solving simple trig equation. We're going to be solving trig equations when we have trig identities, when we're going to intensify the algebra and the trig all at one time. Hi, I'm Mr. Buzzard, and these videos are supplemental instruction for my students. If you found the video enjoyable, make sure you click the like button and click subscribe, as well as the bell for notifications to receive future videos on high school mathematics.